हेलो एभ्रिवान, आम यो होस्ट तब्देन अनि स्वागत छ हजुरहरूलाई मेरो यो एनादर प्रोग्राममा। आज हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ मिस्टर शैलेश जो चाहिँ AIFF को इन्स्ट्रक्टर हुनुहुन्छ अनि हालैमा सिक्किममा रिसेन्टली he has come to Sikkim to host a AIFF E-certificate course in Sikkim. So welcome sir.
Thank you.
सर, सो आप मुझे बताइए कि आपका एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा सिक्किम में?
तो सबसे पहले थैंक यू सो मच फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी। पहली बात यह है कि मैं ऑल इंडिया फुटबॉल फेडरेशन में रिसेंटली ज्वाइन हुआ था अराउंड 3-4 महीने पहले, और ज्वाइन होते ही एज अ हेड ऑफ ग्रासरूट्स सारे जितने भी हमारे स्टेट एसोसिएशंस है सबसे मैंने कांटेक्ट करना स्टार्ट किया था कि वी आर कंडक्टिंग ई-सर्टिफिकेट कोर्सेज and which had been discontinued actually because of COVID-19.
COVID.
And me personally also as a coach educator, I had not conducted any courses for around 2 years. So to come back to start conducting physical courses, it was a little bit of a challenge. But what happened was once we started contacting all of the states, so Sikkim was one of the states who replied back to us. Because generally states don't tend to reply. And they said that we would be happy to conduct the course, and so then I came into touch with Rohan. So they informed me that Rohan Pradhan is officially like with the Sikkim Football Association, so which was again a very new thing for me because I have not experienced some coordinator or someone from the association who's been solely given the responsibility for handling this, and he did a very good job, to be honest. And finally, when I arrived in Gangtok, so it was after a very long journey because this is the 7th consecutive course which I was been conducting. So I started my journey in Delhi itself, where I'm based. So I'd done one course in Delhi, then in Gujarat, then 2 courses in Manipur, 2 courses in Jharkhand. So the journey to Gangtok was pretty challenging because I had to travel, wake up early in the morning, 3 a.m. and we started from Jamshedpur, went by road to Ranchi, then by flight from Ranchi to Calcutta, from Calcutta to Bagdogra, by Bagdogra by road
again
to Gangtok. And but the thing is, at the end of all of it, when I reached Gangtok, like I said, it's a wonderful place, one of my favorite in all of India. So it was a very great experience just to feel the air of Gangtok, to get the sight of the entire mountain side with all the lights. That is something that I always look forward to whenever I go to any of these hilly cities, especially like Aizawl or Shillong, Gangtok. So it's such a amazing sight. So that was something that I was really, really looking forward to on day one. And then that's where I guess it was I would say like the hospitality and even the warmth of the people which we experience in the Northeast is very, very different. And even in Sikkim, for that matter, it's like something that I always look forward to. So like being in Manipur, doing those 2 courses, one of them was also in the hill districts, and there again it's a very close-knit community. Everybody's pretty much together. Everybody is there to help out each other, and that is something that I really, really admire. About all of these states. The 7 sisters, as they call it. So that's something that I always look forward whenever I go to all of these locations, because there's so much to learn. There is so much to experience, and there are so many like new things about the culture, about the traditions, about like the ethnicity, about the tribes, about like, for example, the history of Sikkim. So again, this trip was very, very educative. Apart from the course, in all these other areas, like sampling all of the different cuisine and understanding like Lepcha culture and like Newari culture, all of these things which I was not very, to be honest, because we don't know much, and so that once you start getting educated about this, so you get a new perspective on these things, and that is something which I always enjoy in this line which I work in.
Yeah, sir. आपको सुन के बहुत ऐसा अच्छा लगा कि you get to travel a lot and then you get to go to many places, all over India most probably, right? So how do you take it? Like, do you take it as a, एक बार हो गया चलो अच्छा है, दो बार हो गया चलो मज़ा आया, तीसरी बार चौथी बार, and then 5-6 time it becomes little hectic, don't you think? आपको कैसा लगता है?
यस, मुझे पहले चीज़ ये है कि इंडिया जो है इतना बड़ा है, एंड हमारा जो इन टर्म्स ऑफ डाइवर्सिटी कल्चर, हर स्टेट बहुत अलग है, हर स्टेट. एंड एक्चुअली इंडिया इज़ अ कॉन्टिनेंट. आई विल नॉट कॉल इट अ कंट्री, considering how much I've traveled across it, because every state is so different from each other and distinctly different. Like for example, if you look at so a place like now Sikkim, and if you compare it to, let's say, a place like Meghalaya, so in Meghalaya they have the Khasi culture, there is a Garo culture, Jaintia culture, and then they have their history, where they come from. They have their food, they have their traditions, they have their festivals, and also the way they function, the people they function, very different from, let's say, Sikkim.
Yeah.
So in Sikkim again, when you come here, so then the food is so different, like the traditions are so different, the tribes, I would say, like the ethnic groups. Then, like for example, learning about the Lepchas, the Bhutias, then the Pradhans, the Tamangs, etc., etc. So it's like you get to learn so much, and it's never boring, because for example, yesterday I like sampled some food for the first time in my life, and who can say that in the age of 38 you're eating something for the first time. And that's something that I get to experience in every single tour that I do, like and doing all of these assignments. So I would rather have like the local food, sample the local food, and go to some local festival or local event, just to understand how people think, or how people celebrate, or how people interact with each other. So that is something which I really enjoy and cherish, to be honest.
Okay, that's really nice of you, sir. And मुझे ये एक ख्याल आ रहा था कि I know my Hindi is bad, but I'm trying my best to speak in Hindi today. So मेरा ये ख्याल आ रहा था कि जब आप बात कर रहे थे कि ऐसा ट्रैवल करके different types of ऐसे करके, and then somehow I could think of it as you got to do all those things because of football, right?
Yeah, very true.
फुटबॉल के कारण ही आपको ये सब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिल रहे हैं, जैसे कि एथनिक ट्राइब्स के बारे में. सो आई वांटेड टू आस्क यू कि आप फुटबॉल में कैसे आए?
It's a very good question, because that is a question which my mother also asked me right from the beginning, because my background is in finance. Background is one accountancy, and initially I was working also for a bank, JP Morgan Bank, in Bombay, where I've studied and I've like worked in my initial years. So to be honest, I didn't know what I was going to do. यानी ज़िंदगी में क्या करने वाला था, उसके बारे में मुझे कुछ ऐसा कोई मंजिल नहीं था, so to speak. And what happened was, like it was just by mistake that I got into football. It was I used to play, but then somewhere after I stopped playing, I had made peace with the fact that okay, my footballing days are done, and now I need to start earning, providing for my family, get married soon. So responsibility was there, and I thought that okay, football was good as long as it lasted as a hobby, as a sport, and now it's time to get serious. And next thing you know, one thing led to another, and I was not very happy with my bank job, because I was always a little bit unsatisfied. Job satisfaction not. I felt emptiness inside me, to be honest. And then I thought, why not try something which I'm interested in. So I was always interested in writing, I was interested in photography, and I was interested in football. So I started a website called footballmumbai.com. So this was way back in 2007. So because I started the website, so that is where my journey began, because I started going to all these grounds, and we used to cover football all the way from grassroots to elite to professional, and that was back in the day when we had the National Football League. So I used to go to every single ground in Bombay, as we call Mumbai, and just watch matches, interview players, take photographs. So these were also the early days of Facebook. And back then there was nothing like this. Local sports was never covered, and we didn't have any website or anything. So this was, even the players and the coaches, they were very happy because, they were getting photographed, they were getting interviewed, they were getting their results posted online. There was online standings, tables. So it was something, the best part was, it was all my own, and it never made a single rupee for me, that website. But it was something that I was very proud of. And we had around 20,000 followers also on Facebook. So it was very, I would say, like a satisfying project which I had started off with. And footballmumbai.com basically was the basis on which I re-entered into football. But I entered it as a journalist, as a photographer. And I didn't know that I would actually be on the other side of the camera pretty soon.
This is quite interesting, sir. फिर फुटबॉल छोड़ के फिर वापस आना, once you start working, and then that satisfaction I could see it, जैसे कि आप बता रहे हैं कि पहले ऐसा था फिर बाद में ऐसा हो गया, and then but I think it's nice for you now, right, sir?
Yes, absolutely, because so like I said, once you're covering football, so you are on the outside of the ground. So I was always on the coverage side of things. And that's when I realized while watching, what if I started getting involved as a coach, or what if I started getting involved into let's say something like refereeing or something like administration. So the next thing you know, I applied and I attended for the English FA level 1 coaching course. So the level 1 coaching course is very similar to the E-certificate what we have with the AIFF today. So that again was a very big eye opener for me, because what I realized was all the football that I had played, I actually did not know how to, let's say, explain the football actions. For example, how to pass the ball, how to receive the ball, how to dribble the ball. So all of these things, they were made very simple, and it was very easy to follow. And that's when I realized the importance of coach education and getting the right knowledge, and then also how to transfer the knowledge to the children, because that again was the next step in my mind. So after finishing the level 1, and also the joke was that I did my 2 coaching licenses, and I did not have a team at the time, so I was not coaching anybody. And then finally I took up a job with one local school. So my friend invited me. He said, why don't you come, and we have a small school, and you can just come and coach our children. So for me it was great, because I would have jumped at the opportunity for any school, to be honest. So that it was a local school there, and I still remember the name very vividly. It's New English School in Bandra in Bombay. So that is where I started coaching for the first time. And simultaneously I had a friend who was also running a NGO. So he used to coach underprivileged children in Juhu Beach. Juhu Beach is a very famous beach in Bombay. And that is where, there is this, you have all these slums. So basically lots of small huts, houses, and they are just scattered along the beach line. So that is where, so I started coaching at the slum children. So training children in the slums of Juhu Beach. So that opened up a new avenue for me, in terms of helping individuals who are from socially backward classes, and also trying to teach them some life skills. Trying to create better human beings, trying to teach them human values, trying to help them even with general life lessons. So we started off with this group, and then we also did some projects in Dharavi. So that again is one of the biggest slum settlements in the world, to be honest. And so that again was very satisfying. So once I'd done all of this, so that's when I realized the power of football. Purely not as a coach, but also as someone who can be like someone who can
bring change,
contribute to society. A social worker of sorts, but social worker through football. So that was very, very powerful. And so then after that we started like doing a lot of activities, and that's when all of a sudden I got a job opportunity with the AIFF. So that was the All India Football Federation, and I interviewed and I got into the national team. So that was the under 14 national team at the time, and those boys were with us till the age of 18. So it was very good because we saw these boys. Again, this is an elite youth group. So we saw them make the change like from boys to men. So So it was like, again, it was a very good journey because like I was like a brother to them, and we had boys from every single state, most of the states, to be honest. Couple of them were from Sikkim as well. And then to see them like mature into professionals, and today most of them are playing in the Indian Super League. So it's a great I would say in a way like a reward for us, like the coaching staff and even the management staff who spend so much time with them. And finally those boys today, all of them, even though they are earning a good amount of money, they still have the respect, they still have that remembrance, they still have all those memories. So we are able to connect as soon whenever we meet. And the best part is that they are humble, and that's one of the things that we had taught them during their time in the academy. So we had taught them how to be humble and never forget the people who have helped you in your life. So luckily they have carried on with those learnings. And so then my journey went from basically becoming a social worker / coach into like an elite youth manager. And then from there I left the elite youth setup of the national team, and I joined Dempo Sports Club. So they were like the premier team at the time, top team in India, 5 I-League 5-time I-League champions. So to be honest, I was very happy with my job at AIFF. They were not letting me go. But then, this opportunity with a top club like Dempo doesn't come regularly. So I decided to take it up, try to see what professional football looks like. And that is when I, joined as a senior team manager, and also like the manager for the Grassroots department. So again, it was a great experience with the club there. And we had a so we had some highs and we had some lows as well. So one of the lows was that we had a very, very good team full of players from the national team, and then midway through the season the coach left us, and so I was faced with a dilemma whether I continue with the club or no. And then we ended up getting relegated that year. And then the very next season we bounced back. We became champions in the second division of the I-League. And we came back to the top tier of Indian football. And so again, that journey working with professionals was very much different, because with youth football you have players who depend on you, who are looking at you like a mentor, who are looking at you as a guide. But at the senior level it is quite different, because these are all independent adults. They are all more, I would say, materialistic in a way, because it's all about how much money am I getting, when will the money be deposited, or where are the tickets, why is the room so small. So they are much more demanding than obviously the children. And so that was again learning for me as well, how to satisfy fully grown adults who are constantly demanding something or the other from you. And as a manager as well, you are always on your toes. So with youth football, you can get away with a few things, because the children are ready to adjust. But with the professional clubs, especially when you're dealing with foreign players, so they have a very short attention span, and also the patience is very short. So you need to constantly be delivering, right? And like what I always felt, a good manager is someone who you never notice, right? Because everything is going smoothly, right? But the minute, let's say the flight tickets are not booked, or the bus is not on time, or let's say the meals are delayed, or let's say the equipment is insufficient. So this is the times when, then the attention immediately goes to the team manager. So that was something like what was like a yeah. So that was a big realization for me as well, as a manager for the senior team as compared to the youth teams. So with the senior team, like you are constantly on edge. You're constantly being checked for something, and the stakes are much more higher. They are traveling more. There are I would say, like, even in terms of the results, the pressure, the management, the entire technical staff, all of them are breathing down your backs. So you cannot, you cannot relax anywhere. So you constantly have to, be switched on, as they called, and keep on delivering. So that was basically my stint with management. But somewhere I realized that I wanted to also get into coaching, so many years as a manager, around 8 years as a manager. And then finally I got an opportunity to join a club in Tamil Nadu. And that is where they were doing it was a blended kind of a role, like a national operations manager for an Australian academy, but also I could get involved into coaching. So one of the first conditions that I had was, I would like to do my coaching licenses, and I would like the company to help me, allow me to go there, basically. Yeah. And then they agreed, and then the minute I joined the club, so immediately I went, attended the C certificate, and so again, doing the C certificate, it was very different from the D or even the FA level 1 and level 2 courses, because the C certificate is like much more demanding in terms of the coaching. Yeah, so you're constantly being, pushed to deliver. The pressure is very high, and like it's designed. So the older courses which we had under AIFF, they were designed to be delivered in one shot, 2 weeks at a go, 3 weeks at a go. A license was 1 month at a go. So it used to be towards the second or the third week or towards the end of the course, there was a lot of pressure for the coaches. And that is when I realized, because going for the C certificate is when I realized how much more I need to learn. Because in a way I felt exposed. In a way I felt like, there is so much more that I need to learn. And that was when, then I made it a point that once I go back, I never put myself in this position where, I feel a little bit hesitant or vulnerable or low on confidence going into coaching courses. So the best way is to just do coaching on a regular basis. So the more you coach,
the experience,
the more comfort you will be. Yep.
Okay. It was really nice, sir. दूसरा एक ख्याल आ रहा था, आपका एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या था जब आप सिक्किम में 30 कोचेस को ई सर्टिफिकेट के लिए ट्रेन करने आ रहे थे? What were you expecting?
Yeah, very good question. Because coming into every single course, I come with an open mind. Because I know for a fact that when, for example, a C license or a B diploma course is happening, so the instructor has prior knowledge, because they send the biodatas of all the candidates. So they have a prior knowledge. They have shortlisted the candidates themselves. But for example, this course, I did not know anything about anybody. I did not have the participant list either. So, and just looking at names as well, you cannot come to any conclusions. So I came with a very open mind. And generally, we only have 24 candidates on each course. So the only khayal, I would say, like दिमाग में आ रहा था कि how will I manage to coach 30, because we have never done a course with 30. Generally the course is always with 24. So that was the big question mark. How will you do it with 30? But then I guess, in the end, it all went very smoothly. Yeah, but it was, again, it was also a learning experience for me, because we had to change all our practicals, which maybe the participant would not have realized, because they may have seen something running very smoothly, but these practicals were all being done for the first time. It was not like it is a 30th time, it is the first time, because we had to change everything to accommodate 30 candidates.
Wow. So any differences that you find? कोई किसी के like यहाँ पे किया ये e-certificate और कैसा experience था, and then you do it in Jharkhand or Manipur or
so
कहीं पे क्या difference है?
broadly I classify it into two categories. So you have the urban courses and you have the rural courses. Yeah. So in the urban courses there is more interaction, there are more questions, there is more critical thinking. There are more discussions in the class, and they are much more confident. In the rural courses, you will find coaches who don't have that much like exposure to, let's say, the internet or even like media, to be honest. So it's not their fault, but in general they are very introvert. Nobody wants to say anything, because they are worried that there may be a senior who may feel offended if I say something, or there may be like there is probably like a very very well respected player who's also part of the course, so he may get upset if I say something. So where do I stand in the hierarchy? So these factors come into play, especially when we do rural courses. But what I found in Sikkim was that this was very much an urban setting, and most of the coaches were very very proactive, very knowledgeable, very confident, and they had the I would say they had the critical thinking, which also that we found very rarely. So that was very good. And the sessions itself, because I try to make sure that as an educator, I try to keep it very participant centric and use a lot of methodologies where they are engaged and I talk less and they talk more. So that has always been my policy all along. And what I found here was the level was good enough where I didn't have to say much, and a lot of inputs were coming in from the entire class, so which was really helping me as well.
Sir, आपको ये 30 कोचेस में लगा कि शायद कोई यहाँ से जाएगा ऊपर तक, कि हाँ एक दिन आएगा जब ये लोग इंडिया के टीम को कोच करेंगे, ऐसा फीलिंग, ऐसा आपने स्पार्क देखा क्या किसी में?
हाँ, जो हम जब कोचेस को देखते हैं ना, सो हम 3 चीज़ें देखते हैं, राइट? सो द फर्स्ट वन इज नॉलेज, द सेकंड वन इज स्किल, एंड द थर्ड वन इज द एटीट्यूड. So in terms of knowledge, everybody sees learning never stops. And I felt many of them had a good level of knowledge. And then again, I also felt that they had a good attitude, which will help them to continue learning, because they had that hunger in them. In terms of the skill, so that is something that is built over a period of time. So skill, for example, right now, I will only judge them by the level of, let's say, children or the age group that they're working with. So maybe some may make the jump to seniors football, some may make the jump to youth football. So that will happen in the future. But for example, let's say someone working with children's football is very different from somebody working with the national team, right? Because then you're making the change from your grassroots coaching or children's coaching to seniors coaching, which is a totally different skill set. So you require a different approach when you look at seniors football, or even if you're looking at elite youth football. So that is a totally different skill set. So right now what I found, they are ideal for children's football. And as they grow, some of them may make the switch. They may move into seniors football. But at the same time, we have to also remember that the success is not about going from children's football to seniors football, right? Because we need good coaches in children's football as well. We need good coaches in youth football as well. Because again, remembering the pyramid, unless and until we have some good coaches working at the grassroots level, you will never have players reaching till the top. So that is the one, big, I would say, like a shortcoming that all of us Indian coaches have, and even the mentality that many of us have, that, children's football is my entry point, and then I will go into youth football, and then finally I will end up in the national team. So again, the filtration process is like, very, very ruthless when it comes to India, because we have such a big population. But like again, I will emphasize that we need good coaches, and or even coach educators also at the entry level. Only then will be able to build the pyramid going upward. So I'm sure many of them will make, they may make it as very good coaches, and where they will go, let's say they will continue to remain in grassroots. Yeah, I would be very happy if they remain in grassroots. But at the same time, if they go to, let's say, a senior team, or tomorrow I see them coaching an SPL team, I will still be happy, considering the fact that they have grown as coaches.
वाह सर, एक बात मुझे ये आ रहा था कि जैसे आपने बोला ना, ग्रासरूट कोचेस का स्किल, और जो अच्छे कोचेस को भी ग्रासरूट में रहना ही पड़ेगा टू इम्प्रूव आवर फुटबॉल स्किल्स, राइट? और आई मीन टू से फुटबॉल टीम फॉर इंडिया. सो मैं सोच रहा था कि अगर ग्रासरूट लेवल में कोचेस अच्छे नहीं होंगे तो ऊपर में तो है ना सर, जैसे कि अंडर 14, अंडर 16 में कोचेस अच्छे हैं. वाई इज दैट इम्पॉर्टेंट?
Yeah, very good question, because you have to remember that the golden age of learning for all the children, it is between the age of around 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
Yeah, so this is where all the basics, they are mastered. Yeah, because whatever you teach them in this age, between 8 to 12, they will remember it for life. So even though you may have the best coach at under 14 or under 16, all the initial work which has been done in terms of like, passing technique, receiving technique, running with the ball, in developed countries, let's say in Europe or in South America, so by the age of 12, they have already mastered the basics. So post 12, that is where they start getting introduced into tactics. They start getting introduced into conditioning. They start getting introduced into like fitness training, a little bit more higher workload as well. So all of this comes in at a later phase, but till the age of 12, we are trying to like just ensure that they know the basics.
सर, सो इसमें जैसे कि मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ आपको कि जब भी हम लोग बच्चे थे, एंड देन वी यूज्ड टू गो टू ग्राउंड, वी वर व्हेन द सीनियर्स टीम यूज्ड टू कम, immediately we were chased off. बच्चा है, तुम लोगों का अभी टाइम है, लेट अस प्ले काइंड ऑफ थिंग. ये होता है. एंड देन ये जो छोटा उम्र है, जैसे कि 6 to 12, इसमें पेरेंट्स का क्या इन्वॉल्वमेंट होना चाहिए? और कम्युनिटी में, जैसे हम लोगों का सीनियर्स हो गया, जैसे कि मेरे एक्सपीरियंस में हम लोगों को भगा दिया गया ग्राउंड से, तो उन लोगों का क्या योगदान होना चाहिए?
Yes, so that's actually two aspects to the question. Was the first aspect that parents need to be educated about, let's say, children's football, or about like child protection policy, nutrition, injury prevention, how children develop. So this is so if a parent thinks that okay, ye 7 saal ka 8 saal ka hai, so right now it's not, let him not disturb the seniors, so to speak, because the senior team needs to practice. But at the same time, what happens is we have to consider, and this is again a very big problem in Indian football, across all clubs, that the senior team is always given priority, whatever be the case. So if a ground is not available, so the first preference will always go to the senior team. When do you want to plan? And then all of the age group teams, they will have to adjust. So which is again a very wrong concept. Because yes, I understand that the senior team has to deliver results week in, week out. But the under 14 or the under 18, that is your senior team after 5 years. or your senior team after 8 years. So those are the players who will be there. So it's more about looking towards the future and considering, what do you want to be doing, let's say 5 years from now. Because if you're doing the same thing now, where you're sending children away, 5 years from now, you will not have a proper team. Because those players would have gone, undertrained, so to speak. So that is something like, which is very, very important, like a long-term vision and at the same time education. So educating coaches, educating parents, educating stakeholders, all of this, is very, very important.
So, sir, इसमें थोड़ा सा आप पेरेंट्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट का थोड़ा सा इम्पोर्टेंस बताइए ना इसमें. सो पेरेंट्स का जैसे हो गया कि फुटबॉल इज जस्ट नॉट टू ब्रिंग देम टू द फील्ड एंड देन छोड़ दिया भाई खेलो अपने आप एंड देन हो गया अब 1 घंटा हो गया लेट्स गो बैक. सो व्हाट आर थिंग्स दैट पेरेंट नीड्स टू नो?
Yeah, so like we said, the children basically they pick up values, they pick up habits from the parents, they pick up qualities of the parents, and parents themselves are very, very important stakeholders when it comes to the children's development, right? Because they are the ones who spend the maximum amount of time with their own children, and they are the ones who know them the best. And in today's day and age, the message for parents is that that football has become much more advanced, and there is a entire ecosystem. So probably your son or daughter may become a professional if they have the quality. If she doesn't become a professional, she can still or he can still get into, let's say, so many aspects of football today which were not existent maybe 10 years ago, right? So something like a team manager, match commissioner, referee, physiotherapist, team analyst, social media manager. There are so many areas in sports which can be explored. So, like for example, when I was in Tamil Nadu as well, so I told the parents that these children, I will not lie to you by saying that they will become India players, because they started very late. Some of the children were starting at the age of 15 or 16. So I told them, it's very difficult. But just to let you know, right now there are children in Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Bengal who have started playing at the age of 3 or 4. So what happens is, they have a head start when it comes to playing. But on the flip side, the day that they retire, once they are 35 or 36, now they don't have a plan for the future. But for your children, we can start planning from now itself, because maybe somebody tomorrow may become a very good journalist, could become a good team manager, could become a good administrator, could become a social media manager, analyst. So many of these roles are available now. And the children in the South, for example, they're very smart. Yeah, and some of them, they get into engineering, some of them they get into IT. But most of them don't have the interest in that field. It is just because these two sectors are considered safe. Yeah, so if you become a lawyer, safe, you will have the respect. Or if you become a doctor, you have the respect. So parents also are biased along those lines, because why are you playing football? Isn't that a hobby? So, and football is not going to, put money on the table, put food on the table. Yeah. So they consider football, to be like a pastime. But now it has become a proper, full-fledged career. So once parents realizes, that is when they will start appreciating that, oh, this was something which was not available during my time, but it is available now.
Sir, so you definitely spoke about stakeholders also, like community का कैसा होना चाहिए. बट जैसे कि हम लोग को पता है कि इंडिया में ज़्यादातर की खेलने का जगह जो है ग्राउंड वो अवेलेबल नहीं रहता है, या कम्युनिटी में एक ही रहता है जिसमें सारे कम्युनिटीज़ का हर का काम होता है. जैसे मेला लगना, जैसे कि हो गया आपका कोई बाहर से एक इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग आ गया, वो शॉप वॉप लग गया, तो उस टाइम में बच्चों के खेलने के लिए जगह नहीं होता है. सो ऐसे में कम्युनिटी वालों को क्या करना चाहिए? व्हाट डू यू थिंक दैट कम्युनिटी शुड डू?
Yeah, so communities, first of all, they need to prioritize sports, because what happens is always the football ground, which is owned by, let's say, the local community, or let's say the local municipality, that is the first place where we will build the COVID hospital. That is the first place where we will have the rally. That is the first place where the mela will be set up, like you said. That is the first place where probably there will be some festival related, some event for a day or 2 days, or maybe some kind of concert. So and in some cases even weddings. But so the idea is that we need to have sports loving people in the municipality or in the community who can take these decisions, because at the end of the day, if you're not a decision maker, then you don't get to decide. And we are having this conversation, and it will make no sense, because at the end of the day, neither you nor me can have that decision making power, right? So the first thing is to try and speak to the people who are the decision makers, and then try to bring in people into that decision making post, because again, everything is a democracy, so we need the right people doing the right jobs.
So सर, हम जो 30 कोचेस थे आपने जिनको ट्रेन किया है, उनके लिए कोई मैसेज है आपके पास?
Yeah, so the message is very plain and simple for everybody, that like we said, the children have dreams, and this is something which I tell all the coaches across India. I had a dream once, and everybody, I guess that is a very common dream, to play for India, have your name on the back, right? And again, as a immature, child, we dream of playing in the Premier League, playing in the Champions League, things like that, and dreaming of wearing number 9 or number 7 with our name on it, which doesn't materialize, because again, in elite sports or in professional sports, less than 0.001% of the players make it through to the top level. And this is data even from the Premier League, English Premier League. Yeah, less than 0.001% of the players from the academies make it into professional football in England. So that is a very telling statistic. So that tells you that 99.9% of the players are now forced to do something else. So if they are forced to do something else, so you can imagine how much work the coaches need to put in. So the onus is on the coach, to take that talent and bring it till the next level. So that is basically the gist of coaching. How can you improve the performance of the player? How can you take him to the next level? And so all I will say is that for all of these coaches is give your 100%, and every single day try to be a better version of yourself. Because you are the best judge of yourself, and you may be able to fool the world, but you cannot fool yourself. So you will know for a fact what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and you can do a SWOT analysis on yourself, and you will be the best judge, right? And I would only suggest that every single day try to just be a slightly better version, maybe 0.1% better, and definitely they will improve over a period of time.
Sir, any your plans for the future? देखा तो नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी कोई plans बना हुआ है आपके लिए?
So basically, for me, Indian football has been a very beautiful journey. It has been mentally a journey, and also physically it has been a journey. It has taken me to all parts of this country. It has allowed me to appreciate India for all its beauty, for all its diversity, for all its culture, for all of its cuisines, for all of everything that makes us Indian. Because there is, technically speaking, there is nothing common between you and me while we are sitting here across this table, right? But still we are Indian, and that is the beauty of India, and that is something that I appreciate a lot. I wouldn't call myself patriotic, but at the same time, the fact that this entire region has so much of wealth of talent, wealth of knowledge, wealth of beauty. And we have to be able to, tap it. We haven't been able to tap it as yet. But yes, every generation that comes is, much more smarter, much more intelligent, so to speak. So for me as well, I'm just trying to grow as, so like I said, I started off as a journalist, and today I'm a lead coach educator for AIFF, which I didn't think that I would be maybe 5 years ago. So I was just happy being a coach, and then, got into coach education. And now from coach education, I've become the head of Grassroots, so which is again a management role. So again, I'm managing an entire team of instructors across India from different states. So again, they come with their own, regional issues, or it's very nuanced, so to speak. So it has been very interesting working with all of these very talented people from all over the country, and then trying to deliver courses with various stakeholders in different states. So to be honest, the one thing which I always tell everybody, I don't know what I'll be doing 5 years from now. I literally do not know. Because a couple of years ago, I was a match commissioner in a FIFA competition being held in Bhubaneswar, where, I was leading out the Indian national team against Iran, for the opening game of the Hero Gold Cup. And never in my wildest dreams I thought, I would ever be leading the national team out on a, for an official international match. But that happened. And now today, to be in Gangtok, as not as a tourist, but as for work. So that itself, surprises me, because, it is a place that I love so much. And then, I'm here for work. So what could be better than that? I get to, visit all of these wonderful places, and at the same time I get paid for it. So that is, I think, the biggest cheating which has happened in Indian football. Yeah.
Wow. सर सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा आपको, एंड देन थैंक यू सो मच आप आए हमारे शो में, और जितने भी कोचेस को ट्रेन किए शायद वो भी सुनेंगे हमारे पॉडकास्ट को, एंड देन होप दे गेट द मैसेज वेरी क्लियर आउट ऑफ यू. और खुशी लगा फिर से आपको एक बार मेरे दिल से आपको धन्यवाद कहना चाहता हूँ आप आए. बिफोर वी लीव, डू यू हैव एनी लास्ट मैसेजेस फॉर एनीवन?
Yes, the last message is just that, we are all very fortunate to be involved in football. If you are involved in football, consider yourself very fortunate, because it is the biggest game in the world. And the game markets itself. You don't have to actually explain to anybody the rules of the game, because they know it, and it is the most popular game. And all you need to do is market basically yourself, and everything else will follow.
Wow. So, thank you, sir. फिर से एक बार धन्यवाद. एंड देन अगर फिर दोबारा आप सिक्किम में आएंगे, ऐसा चांस मिला तो देन अगेन I'll try to get in touch with you and then get some more
interesting things about you. Follow-up.
Yeah,
part 2 of the podcast.
Part 2, yeah. So thank you so much, sir. And then this is your host signing off for the day. Bye-bye.